How are you guys doing? Today is Friday, June 4th, 2021, out here in this quarantine. I'm James Sims, and for this episode of The Elite, I'm going to review the Elite matchups and performances from yesterday, Thursday, June 3rd. And of course, I'm going to preview everything that's going on in the world of sports today as we navigate through the world of sports one day at a time. There were two Western Conference playoff games, and there were two series ended. Going into yesterday, there were 11 teams competing for the NBA title as the entire Eastern Conference second round has been decided. And now yesterday, two more teams were eliminated. So now there are 9 teams competing for the NBA championship, as there is one more first round playoff series. But looking out to what happened yesterday, starting off in Portland, the 6-seed Portland Trailblazers hosted the 3-seed Denver Nuggets in Game 6 of the Western Conference first-round series. In this matchup, the 3-seed Nuggets would come from behind to beat the Trailblazers 126-115 after they outscored the Trailblazers 28-14 by 14 points in the fourth quarter after they were trailing by 3 coming into the quarter. For the Portland Trailblazers in their final game of the 2020-2021 campaign, their leading scorer was their elite starting point guard out of Weber State. Damian Lillard would finish with 28 points, 4 rebounds, 13 assists, 2 steals, and 5 turnovers in 43 minutes. He shot 8 for 20 from the field, 3 for 11 from 3, and a perfect 9 for 9 from the foul line. And then alongside him, their starting shooting guard out of Mercer, CJ McCollum, would finish with 21 points in his last game in 38 minutes. He shot 9 for 21 from the field and 1 for 2 from the foul line. For the Denver Nuggets in this matchup, their leading scorer was their elite starting center, Nikola Jokic. He finished with 36 points, 8 rebounds, and 6 assists alongside 5 turnovers in 36 minutes. He shot 13 for 22 from the field, 2 for 4 from 3, and a perfect 8 for 8 from the foul line. Their starting small forward out of Missouri, Michael Porter Jr., would finish with 26 points and 5 rebounds in 34 minutes. He shot 10 for 19 from the field and 6 for 12 from 3. And then off the bench, their point guard Monte Morris would finish with 22 points and 9 assists alongside 3 steals in 33 minutes. He shot 8 for 16 from the field, 3 for 6 from 3, and 3 for 5 from the foul line. With this win, the 3rd-seed Denver Nuggets were the second team out of the Western Conference to make it to the first round of the playoffs. They will face off against the winner of the 2nd-seed Phoenix Suns and the 7th-seed Los Angeles Lakers. And with this loss, the 6th-seed Portland Trailblazers season is over, as they have effectively been eliminated from the playoffs. They are the 6th team to have been eliminated, and the 2nd team in the Western Conference to have been eliminated. Great season for them. And then following that game, it was the 2-7 matchup in Los Angeles as the 7th seed defending champs Los Angeles Lakers hosted the 2nd seed Phoenix Suns. A little bit of context here. The Suns, they played in the bubble. They had a perfect record in the bubble, but they didn't make the playoffs. So of course they had a 2-month shorter off season than the Lakers did, alongside the fact that the Lakers had, they were injury prone, but of course the Suns played a great game. In this matchup, the 2nd seed Suns would beat the 7th seed Lakers 113-100 after Anthony Davis effectively went down in the first quarter and wouldn't come back. The Suns would end up outscoring the Lakers by 22 in the first quarter and holding on to that momentum as the Lakers slowly came back, but the Suns would win the game by 13, keeping the Lakers all the way from coming all the way back and sending them into Game 7. For the defending champs in their final game of the 2020-2021 campaign, their leading scorer was their goated starting small forward, LeBron James, out of St. Vincent St. Mary High School. The reigning NBA Finals MVP would finish with 29 points, 9 rebounds, 7 assists, 2 steals, and 2 blocks in 41 minutes. He shot 11 for 26 from the field, 3 for 10 from 3, and 4 for 6 from the foul line. Their starting point guard out of Germany, Dennis Schroeder, would finish with 20 points in 38 minutes. He shot 6 for 14 from the field and a perfect 6 for 6 from the foul line. Their elite starting power forward, Anthony Davis, in his final game as a Laker this season would finish with no points, a rebound, and an assist in 5 minutes, as he had not taken a single shot attempt before he went out. For the Phoenix Suns in this matchup, their leading scorer was their elite starting shooting guard out of Kentucky, Devin Booker. He finished with 47 points, 11 rebounds, and 3 assists in 46 minutes. He shot 15 for 22 from the field, 8 for 10 from 3, and a perfect 9 for 9 from the foul line. Alongside him, their elite starting point guard out of Wake Forest, Chris Paul, would finish with 8 points, 2 rebounds, and 12 assists in 29 minutes. He shot 4 for 12 from the field. With this win, the second seed Phoenix Suns have advanced past the 7th seed Los Angeles Lakers, the defending champs. They're the first team to beat LeBron in a playoff series since the Warriors in the 2018 finals, I believe. But regardless, big win for them as they will advance to face off against the 3rd seed Denver Nuggets, and the Phoenix Suns will get home court advantage. Right now, that's how that series is looking, and with this loss, the 7th seed Lakers are now the 7th team to be eliminated from the playoffs and the 3rd team from the West. Right now, that is what the NBA playoffs are looking like following yesterday's games. Looking forward to what's going on today. It will be Game 6 of the Western Conference 4-5 matchup as the 5th seed Dallas Mavericks, who currently lead the series 3-2, are going to host the 4th seed Los Angeles Clippers. This game will be on ESPN. The Dallas Mavericks could be the very last team to clinch the second round at home today. Or I guess if the Clippers have other plans, the Clippers can defeat the Mavericks and take them to a Game 7. Right now, that's about where we are in the playoff basketball schedule. Taking a look at what's going on in the Stanley Cup hockey schedule, the Stanley Cup playoffs for hockey are just in their second round, which is the divisional finals because there are 4 divisions. There are 8 teams left. Starting off in the East Division, it was the East Divisional final matchup as the 4th seed New York Islanders hosted the 3rd seed Boston Bruins. In this matchup, the Bruins would win this game 2-1 after winning off of an overtime goal to take a 2-1 series in this lead. Game 4 will be played in New York, but right now Boston holds the 2-1 series lead. And the second game happened in Tampa Bay as the defending champs, 3 seed in the Central Tampa Bay Lightning hosted the 1st seed Carolina Hurricanes. In this matchup, the 1st seed Hurricanes would end up beating the Lightning in overtime 3-2 to get their first win of the series. With this win, the Hurricanes still trail the Lightning 2-1 after Game 3 as the Lightning will host Game 4. Thus far, the road team has won all 3 of the games this season. That's about where we are with that schedule. Looking forward to what's going on today in the world of hockey. At 7:30 on USA Network, it will be the North Division final as the 3rd seed Winnipeg Jets host the 4th seed Montreal Canadiens. The 4th seed Montreal Canadiens currently lead the series 1-0 after taking Game 1, so that's about where we are with that series. And then at 10 o'clock on NBC Sports Network, it will be the West Divisional final as the 2nd seed Las Vegas Golden Knights will host the 1 seed Colorado Avalanche. The Avalanche won the very first 2 games at home. The Knights could either even the series up tonight, or the Avalanche can put themselves 1 win away from the Stanley Cup semifinals. So that is what playoff hockey is looking like at this very moment. Taking a look at what's going on with baseball at the moment. Starting off in Atlanta, the Atlanta Braves hosted the Washington Nationals, the 2019 World Series champs. In this matchup, this game will go completely scoreless until about the 6th inning, and the Braves would beat the Nationals 5-1 after scoring 4 runs in the 6th inning. For the Washington Nationals in this matchup, the start and the loss went to Patrick Corbin. He allowed 4 earned runs in 5.1 innings pitched as he struck out 4. With this loss, Patrick Corbin is now 3-5 as a starting pitcher. The only player with more than 1 hit was their second baseman, and the second baseman for the Nationals last night was Jordy Mercer. Mercer was 2 for 4 with a run on the day. For the Atlanta Braves, the start went to Tucker Davidson. He allowed no earned runs in 5.2 innings pitched. He only allowed 1 hit in those almost 6 innings as he struck out 5. The win, however, will go to the Braves' first relief pitcher, Josh Tomlin. He allowed no earned runs in 1.1 inning pitch as he struck out 1. With this win, Tomlin is 3-0 as a relief pitcher. The only player with more than 1 hit for Atlanta was their elite second baseman, Ozzie Albies. He went 3 for 4 with 2 RBIs and a run. And with this win, the Atlanta Braves are now 26-28. That is the second best record in the National League East. They now trail the New York Mets by 3.5 games in the division. The Atlanta Braves have now won 6 of their last 10 games. With this loss, the Washington Nationals are now 23-30. They are the second team in the National League East to cross the 30-loss threshold, but they still have the worst record in the division. They now sit 6 games behind the New York Mets in the division, and they have now lost 7 of their last 10 games. Jumping out to New York, the New York Yankees hosted the Tampa Bay Rays, and the Rays would beat the Yankees 9-2 as the Yankees scored the very first run of the game. For the Yankees, the start and the loss would go to their elite starting pitcher, Garrett Cole. Cole allowed 5 earned runs in 5 innings pitched as he struck out 7. With this loss, Garrett Cole is now 6-3 as a starting pitcher. And in their batting lineup, the only player with more than 1 hit was their center fielder, Brett Gardner. He went 2 for 3 with an RBI and a run as he had his first home run of the season yesterday. For the Tampa Bay Rays, the start and the win went to their only pitcher, Ryan Yarbrough. He allowed 2 earned runs in the 9 innings that he pitched as he struck out 6. He also allowed 6 hits in those 9 innings, but nonetheless, he was the only pitcher for Tampa. With this win, he is now 3-3 as a starter this year. Their second baseman, Brandon Lau, would end up going 2 for 3 with an RBI and 3 runs. Their designated hitter, Austin Meadows, would go 2 for 5 with 5 RBIs and 2 runs, as Meadows hit his 14th home run of the season. With this win, the Tampa Bay Rays are now 36-22. That is the best record in the American League East. That is the best record in the American League, and that is currently the second best record in the entire MLB. They now sit 2 games ahead of the second-place Boston Red Sox in the division, and the Rays have now won 7 of their last 10 games. With this loss, the New York Yankees are now 31-26. That is the third best record in the American League East. They now trail the Tampa Bay Rays by 4.5 games in the division. The Yankees have now lost 7 of their last 10 games. Jumping out to Houston, the Houston Astros hosted the Boston Red Sox, and in this matchup, the Red Sox would beat the Astros 5-1 after scoring 3 runs in the second inning. For the Houston Astros in this matchup, the start and the loss would go to Jake Odorizzi. Odorizzi would go on to allow 3 earned runs in 3 innings pitched as he struck out 2. With this loss, Odorizzi is 0-3 as a starting pitcher this year for Houston. Their second baseman, Aldemis Diaz, would end up going 2 for 3 on the day. Their first baseman, Yuli Gurriel, would go 3 for 4 with an RBI and a run as he had his 8th home run of the season. And then for the Boston Red Sox, the start and the win went to Martin Perez. Perez would allow no earned runs in 7.2 innings pitched as he struck out 4. With this win, Perez is now 4-2 as a starting pitcher for Boston. In their batting lineup, their elite designated hitter, JD Martinez, would go 2 for 5 with a run, and then their shortstop, Xander Bogaerts, would go 2 for 5 with 2 RBIs as well. With this win, the Boston Red Sox are now 33-23. That is the second best record in the American League East. They now trail the Tampa Bay Rays by 2 games in the division. The Red Sox have now won 5 of their last 10 games. With this loss, the Houston Astros are now 31-25. That is the second best record in the American League West. They now trail the Oakland Athletics by a game in the division. The Astros have now lost 5 of their last 10 games. Jumping out to Denver, the Colorado Rockies hosted the Texas Rangers in the Mile High City, and the Rockies were able to pull off an 11-6 win as 4 of the Rangers' 6 runs came in the 9th inning. For the Rangers, the start and the loss went to Mike Foltynewicz as he allowed 5 earned runs in 3.2 innings pitched as he struck out 2. With this loss, Mike Foltynewicz is 1-6 on the season as a starting pitcher. The only player on the team with more than 1 hit was their third baseman, Brock Holt. Brock Holt would go 2 for 4 with an RBI on the day. For the Colorado Rockies, the start and the win went to Austin Gomber. He allowed no earned runs in 6 innings pitched as he struck out 6. With this win, Gomber is 4-5 on the season. Their left fielder, Raimel Tapia, would go 3 for 5 with an RBI and 3 runs. Their elite right fielder, Charlie Blackmon, would go 3 for 4 with 3 RBIs and 2 runs. As Blackmon hit his 11th double of the season, he also hit his 4th home run of the season. Their third baseman, Josh Fuentes, would go 2 for 5 with an RBI. Their second baseman, Garrett Hampson, would end up going 4 for 5 with an RBI and 2 runs. He had 2 doubles on the day. And with this win, the Colorado Rockies are now 23-34. That is currently the 4th best record in the National League West. They now trail the San Francisco Giants by 12.5 games in the division. The Rockies have now won 5 of their last 10 games. With this loss, the Texas Rangers are now 22-36. That is currently the worst record in the American League West. They now trail the Oakland Athletics by 11 games in the division. The Rangers have now lost 9 of their last 10 games. Jumping out to Pittsburgh, the Pittsburgh Pirates hosted the Miami Marlins, and the Pirates were able to pull off a 5-3 win after coming from behind and taking. They came from behind and took a 2-run lead after a 3-run double from Jacob Stallings. For the Miami Marlins in this matchup, the start would end up going to Eliezer Hernandez. He would allow 1 earned run in 5 innings pitched as he struck out 6. The loss, however, would go to their 4th relief pitcher, Dylan Floro. Floro would allow 3 earned runs in .2 innings pitched as he was unable to strike out a batter. He would blow his 3rd save of the season. With this loss, Dylan Floro is now 2-3 as a relief pitcher for Miami. Their second baseman, John Birdie, was the only player with more than 1 hit as he went 2 for 3 with a run on the day. For the Pittsburgh Pirates, the start went to Tyler Anderson. Tyler Anderson would allow 3 earned runs in 5.1 innings pitched as he struck out 4. The win would go to their 3rd relief pitcher, Kyle Crick. He allowed no earned runs in 1 inning pitched. With his win, he is now 1-0 as a relief pitcher for the Pirates. And the save would go to Rich Rodriguez. He allowed no earned runs in 1 inning pitched, and with this save, he now has 7 on the year. In their batting lineup, their third baseman, Ke'Bryan Hayes, would go 2 for 4 with a run. Their center fielder, Bryan Reynolds, would go 2 for 3 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs as he hit his 8th home run of the year. And with this win, the Pittsburgh Pirates are now 21-34. That is the worst record in the National League Central, and that is the second worst record in the MLB for that matter. They now in the National League for that matter. They now sit 10.5 games behind the Chicago Cubs in the division, and they have now the Pirates have now won 3 of their last 10 games. With this loss, the Miami Marlins are now 24-31. That is the 4th best record in the National League East, win percentage-wise. They now sit 6 games behind the New York Mets in the National League East, as they have now lost 7 of their last 10 games. Jumping out to Milwaukee, the Milwaukee Brewers hosted the Arizona Diamondbacks and were able to pull up a 7-4 win to give Suter his 6th win of the year. For the Arizona Diamondbacks, the start and the loss would go to their starting pitcher, Jon Duplantier. Duplantier would allow 5 earned runs in 4 innings pitched as he struck out 3. With this loss, Duplantier is 0-1 as a starting pitcher. In their batting lineup, their center fielder, Ketel Marte, would end up going 4 for 5 with an RBI and a run. Their third baseman, Eduardo Escobar, would go 2 for 3 as he walked twice. And then their shortstop, Nick Ahmed, would go 4 for 5 with an RBI. And then on the other side of the aisle, the start for the Milwaukee Brewers would go to their starting pitcher, Brett Anderson. Anderson would go on to allow 3 earned runs in 4.1 innings pitched as he struck out 1. The win, however, would go to Brent Suter, the Brewers' first relief pitcher. Suter would allow no earned runs in 1.2 innings pitched as he struck out 3. With this win, Suter is 6-3 as a relief pitcher on the year, and the save will go to their elite closer, Josh Hader. He allowed no earned runs in 1 inning pitched as he struck out all 3 of the outs that he recorded were strikeouts. That is his 13th save of the season. In their batting lineup, they only had 1 player with more than 1 hit, and it was their center fielder, Jackie Bradley Jr. He went 2 for 3 with an RBI and a run as he hit his 5th home run of the season. Alongside him, their elite left fielder, former National League MVP, Christian Yelich, would go 1 for 3 with 3 RBIs and 2 runs as Yelich hit his 2nd home run of the season yesterday. With this win, the Milwaukee Brewers are now 30-26. That is the 3rd best record in the National League Central. They now sit 2 games behind the Chicago Cubs in the division. The Brewers have now won 7 of their last 10 games. With this loss, the Arizona Diamondbacks are now 20-38. That is technically the worst record in the National League. I don't believe it's the worst record in all of baseball, but they have the 2nd worst record in all of baseball thus far. Nonetheless, they now sit 16 games behind the San Francisco Giants in the National League West, and the Arizona Diamondbacks have lost 8 of their last 10 games. Jumping out to Kansas City, the Kansas City Royals hosted the Minnesota Twins, and the Royals were able to pull up a 6-5 win after coming from behind, after breaking their tie in the 7th inning off of Jared Dyson scoring off of a fielding error, allowing Andrew Benintendi to reach first safely. But regardless, for the Minnesota Twins, the start went to J.A. Happ. Happ would allow 5 earned runs in 5 innings pitched as he struck out 2. The loss would go to the Twins' second relief pitcher, Hansel Robles. He allowed no earned runs in 1 inning pitched as he struck out 1, but he allowed a run, not earned. With this loss, he is now 1-2 as a relief pitcher on the season. Their third baseman, former American League MVP, Josh Donaldson, will go 3 for 5 with 2 RBIs and 3 runs. He hit his 6th and 7th home runs of the season yesterday. Their second baseman, Jorge Polanco, will go 3 for 4 with an RBI and a run for himself. And then the only other player with more than one hit for the Twins was their catcher, Ryan Jeffers. He went 2 for 4 on the day. For the Kansas City Royals, the start went to Kris Bubic. Bubic would allow 3 earned runs in 4.1 innings pitched as he struck out 6. The win, however, would go to their second relief pitcher, Jacob Junis. Junis allowed 1 earned run in 1 inning pitched as he was unable to strike out a batter. He would blow his second save of the year, but with his win, he is now 2-3 as a relief pitcher this year. And the save, however, would end up going to Scott Barlow. Barlow would allow no earned runs in 2 innings pitched as he struck out 2. That's his second save of the year. In their batting lineup, their elite designated hitter, Salvador Perez, would end up going 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs as he hit 2 solo home runs on the day. He hit his 13th and 14th home runs of the season yesterday. And alongside him, the Kansas City Royals player that actually played catcher, Cam Gallagher, would go 2 for 4 with a run. With this win, the Kansas City Royals are now 28-26. That is currently the 3rd best record in the American League Central. They now trail the Chicago White Sox by 5 games in the division. The Royals have now won 7 of their last 10 games. With this loss, the Minnesota Twins are now 22-34. That is the worst record in the American League Central. They now trail the Chicago White Sox by 12 games in the division. The Twins have now lost 5 of their last 10 games. Jumping out to the south side of Chicago, the Chicago White Sox hosted the Detroit Tigers, and the White Sox were able to pull off a 4-1 win at home to give Lance Lynn his 7th win of the season. For the Tigers, the start and the loss went to Casey Mize. Mize would allow 3 earned runs in 7 innings pitched as he struck out 6. With this loss, Casey Mize is now 3-4 as a starting pitcher for the Detroit Tigers, and I believe his rookie season. In their batting lineup, nobody on the Tigers would have more than 1 hit as their second baseman, Willie Castro, would go 1 for 3 with an RBI and a run. He hit his 4th home run of the season yesterday. That was the only run of the day for Detroit. For Chicago, the start and the win went to Lance Lynn. Lance Lynn allowed 1 earned run in 6 innings pitched as he struck out 6. With this win, Lance Lynn is now 7-1. I meant to make it rhyme. And then the save would go to their elite closer, Liam Hendriks. He allowed no earned runs in 1 inning pitched as he struck out 2. That's his 14th save of the year. And in their batting lineup, the only player with more than 1 hit was their elite shortstop, Tim Anderson. Tim Anderson would end up going 2-for-4 with an RBI and a run as he hit his 6th home run of the season yesterday. The White Sox actually hit 3 of them. 3 of their 4 runs, or all 4 of their runs actually came off of solo home runs. But with this win, the Chicago White Sox are now 34-22. That is the best record in the American League Central. They now sit 3 games ahead of the second place Cleveland Indians in the division. The White Sox have now won 7 of their last 10 games. With this loss, the Detroit Tigers are now 23-33. Record-wise, that is the 4th best record in the American League Central. They now sit 11 games behind the Chicago White Sox in the division. The Tigers have now lost 5 of their last 10 games. Jumping out to St. Louis, the St. Louis Cardinals hosted the Cincinnati Reds. The Reds were able to beat the Cardinals 4-2 as they scored 3 of their first 4 runs in the first 2 innings, and the Cardinals they scored both of their runs in the first inning as well. For the St. Louis Cardinals in this matchup, the start and the loss went to Adam Wainwright. He allowed 3 earned runs in 7 innings pitched. All 3 of the earned runs were in the first 2 innings. He would strike out 4 on the day. With this loss, Adam Wainwright is now 3-5 as a starting pitcher on the season. The only player with more than 1 hit in their batting lineup, however, was their second baseman, Tommy Edman. He went 2-for-5 with a run. For the Cincinnati Reds in this matchup, the start and the win would go to Vladimir Gutierrez. Gutierrez would allow 2 earned runs in 5 innings pitched as he struck out 3. With this win, Gutierrez is now 1-1 as a starting pitcher for the Reds, and the save went to their relief pitcher, Lucas Sims. Sims would go on to allow no earned runs in 2 innings pitched as he struck out 2. That's his 4th save of the season. In their batting lineup, their left fielder, Jesse Winker, would go 3-for-5 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs. Winker hit his 14th home run of the season. Their right fielder, Nick Castellanos, would go 2-for-4. And then last but not least, their second baseman, Jonathan India, would end up going 2-for-3. With this win, the Cincinnati Reds are now 25-29. That is the 4th best record in the National League Central. They now trail the Chicago Cubs by 6 games in the division. The Reds have now won 5 of their last 10 games. With this loss, the St. Louis Cardinals are now 31-26. That is the 2nd best record in the National League Central. They now trail the Chicago Cubs by 1.5 games in the division. The St. Louis Cardinals have now lost 5 of their last 10 games. Jumping out to Anaheim, the Los Angeles Angels hosted the Seattle Mariners. The Angels would score the first 2 runs of the game. The Mariners would take a couple innings to come from behind and take the lead thanks to a 3-run home run from Jake Fraley, and they would run away with their 29th win of the season. For the Angels in this matchup, the start and the loss went to Griffin Canning. Canning allowed 4 earned runs in 3.1 innings pitched as he struck out 5. With this loss, Griffin Canning is now 4-4 as a starting pitcher for the Angels this year. And nobody on the Angels would finish with more than 1 hit as their first baseman, their first baseman, Jared Walsh, would go 1-for-4 with an RBI and a run. He hit his 13th home run of the season. For the Seattle Mariners, however, the start and the win went to Justice Sheffield. Sheffield allowed 2 earned runs in 5.2 innings pitched as he struck out 7. With this win, he is now 5-4 as a starting pitcher on the year. In their batting lineup, their shortstop, J.P. Crawford, would end up going 3-for-5 with an RBI. Their right fielder, Mitch Haniger, would go 2-for-5 with an RBI. And then their third baseman, Kyle Seager, would go 2-for-5 with an RBI and a run. Seager hit his 11th home run of the season yesterday. With this win, the Seattle Mariners are now 29-29. That is the 3rd best record in the American League West. They now trail the Oakland Athletics by 4 games in the division. The Mariners have now won 7 of their last 10 games as well. With this loss, the Los Angeles Angels are now 25-31. That is the 4th best record in the American League West. They now trail the Oakland Athletics by 7 games in the division, and the Angels have now lost 4 of their last 10 games. Jumping out to the Bay Area, the San Francisco Giants hosted the Chicago Cubs, and they were able to pull up a 7-2 win after the Cubs took the lead in the 3rd inning. The Giants were tied up in the 4th, but then take the lead in the 5th thanks to a 3-run home run from their shortstop, Brandon Crawford. For the Chicago Cubs in this matchup, the start and the loss went to Zach Davies. Davies allowed 4 earned runs in 4.1 innings pitched as he struck out 4. With this loss, Zach Davies is 2-3 as a starting pitcher on the year. Nobody on the Cubs was able to finish with more than 1 hit, and a lot of that can be attributed to great pitching on the San Francisco Giants side. For the Giants, the start and the win went to Anthony DeSclafani. He allowed 2 earned runs in 6 innings pitched as he struck out 4. With this win, DeSclafani is 5-2 as a starting pitcher. In their batting lineup, their former National League MVP catcher Buster Posey would go 2-for-5 with a run. Their left fielder Alex Dickerson would go 2-for-4 as well. Their shortstop Brandon Crawford would go 2-for-3 with 4 RBIs and 2 runs, as Crawford hit his 12th home run as well. With this win, the San Francisco Giants are now 35-21. That is currently the best record in the National League West. That is the best record in the National League, and it is the second best record in the major leagues to the Tampa Bay Rays. They now sit 1 game ahead of the second-place San Diego Padres within the division, and the Giants have now won 7 of their last 10 games. With this loss, the Chicago Cubs are now 32-24. That is the best record in the National League Central. They sit a game and a half ahead of the second-place St. Louis Cardinals. The Chicago Cubs have only lost 2 of their last 10 games. Jumping out to San Diego, last but not least, the San Diego Padres hosted the New York Mets, and the Padres were able to beat the Mets 4-3 after scoring all 4 of their runs in the first 5 innings. The Mets would not score until after that, but it simply wouldn't be enough. For the Mets, for the leading team in the National League East in this game, the start and the loss went to Taijuan Walker. Walker allowed 3 earned runs in 5 innings pitched as he struck out 2. With this loss, Taijuan Walker is 4-2 as a starting pitcher this year. And nobody on the Mets would finish with more than 1 hit as their catcher, James McCann, would go 1-for-4 with 2 RBIs and a run, hitting his 5th home run of the season. For the San Diego Padres in this matchup, the start and the win would go to their elite starting pitcher, Yu Darvish. Darvish allowed 2 earned runs in 5.1 innings pitched as he struck out 5. With this win, Yu Darvish is 6-1 as a starting pitcher this year, and the save would go to their closer, Mark Melancon. He allowed no earned runs in 1 inning pitched. With this save, Melancon now is 18 on the year. In their batting lineup, their center fielder, Jurickson Profar, would go 2-for-4 with an RBI. Their elite shortstop, Fernando Tatis Jr., would take the major league lead in home runs as he went 2-for-4 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs. He hit his 17th home run of the season. And then their pitcher, their elite starting pitcher, Yu Darvish, in addition to picking up the win and allowing only 2 runs in 5.1 innings pitched, he would go 2-for-2 in the batting lineup as well. With this win, the San Diego Padres are now 35-23. That is the second best record in the National League West. They have the same amount of wins as the Giants, but they have 2 more losses, so they sit a game behind the San Francisco Giants in the National League West. The San Diego Padres have now won 5 of their last 10 games. With this loss, the New York Mets are now 27-22. They now hold a 3.5 game lead over the second place Atlanta Braves in the National League East in the division. They have now lost 4 of their last 10 games. Right now, that is what the major leagues are looking like as we transition into today, Friday, June 4th. Friday is sort of a travel day, but the team should already be where they are for their weekend series. Starting at 7:05, Michael King and the New York Yankees are going to host Nathan Eovaldi and the Boston Red Sox. Nate Eovaldi is sporting a 6-2 record and a 4.01 ERA this season. At the same time, Keegan Akin and the Baltimore Orioles are going to host Giancarlo Mejia and the Cleveland Indians at 7:05. Mejia has not yet allowed a run as he is now 1-0 as a starting pitcher for the Indians. At the same time, at 7:05, Mitch Keller and the Pittsburgh Pirates are going to host Cody Poteet and the Miami Marlins in Pittsburgh. Cody Poteet is sporting a 2-1 ERA and a 2-1 record and a 2.95 ERA for the Marlins this year. At 7:05, Zach Wheeler and the Philadelphia Phillies are going to host the Washington Nationals, led by their goated starting pitcher Max Scherzer and Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia. Zach Wheeler is sporting a 4-2 record and a 2.52 ERA for the Phillies. Max Scherzer is sporting a 4-4 record and a 2.34 ERA for the Nationals. At 7:07, the Toronto Blue Jays, led by their elite starting pitcher Hyunjin Ryu, are going to host the Houston Astros, led by their former American League Cy Young winner Zach Greinke. Hyunjin Ryu is holding a 5-2 record and a 2.62 ERA. Zach Greinke is holding a 5-2 record and a 3.67 ERA this season. At 8:05, following that at 7:20 on ESPN Plus, the Atlanta Braves, led by their young starting pitcher Ian Anderson, are going to host the defending champions Los Angeles Dodgers, as they are led by their starting pitcher Julio Urias. Ian Anderson is sporting a 4-2 record and a 3.27 ERA. Julio Urias is sporting a 7-2 record alongside a 3.61 ERA. Jumping out to what's going on at 8 o'clock, Kyle Gibson of the Texas Rangers is going to host Josh Fleming of the Tampa Bay Rays. Kyle Gibson is sporting a 3-0 record and a 2.24 ERA for the Rangers. Josh Fleming is sporting a 5-3 record and a 2.98 ERA for the Tampa Bay Rays. At 8:10, Freddie Peralta and the Milwaukee Brewers are going to host Matt Peacock and the Arizona Diamondbacks. Freddie Peralta is sporting a 5-1 record and a 2.38 ERA. Matt Peacock is sporting a 2-1 record for himself. At 8:10 at the same time, Dallas Keuchel, the former American League MVP, and the Chicago White Sox are going to host Spencer Turnbull and the Detroit Tigers. Keuchel is sporting a 4-1 record. Turnbull is sporting a 4-2 record alongside a 2.93 ERA. At 8:10, Brad Keller and the Kansas City Royals are going to host Matt Shoemaker and the Minnesota Twins. Brad Keller is sporting a 5-4 record for Kansas City. At 8:15, Kwang Hyun Kim and the St. Louis Cardinals are going to host Luis Castillo and the Cincinnati Reds. At 8:40, John Gray and the Colorado Rockies are going to host Frankie Montas and the Oakland Athletics. Frankie Montas is sporting a 5-5 record for the Oakland Athletics. At 9:38, Shohei Ohtani and the Los Angeles Angels are going to host Robert Duggar and the Seattle Mariners. Shohei Ohtani, as a pitcher, is sporting a 1-1 record and alongside a 2.72 ERA on the season. At 9:45, the San Francisco Giants will host the Chicago Cubs, who are going to be led by their former Cy Young winner, Jake Arrieta. Arrieta coming into this game with a 5-5 record. Last but not least, at 10:10, the San Diego Padres, led by their elite starting pitcher Blake Snell, are going to take on Joey Lucchesi and the New York Mets. At the moment, Blake Snell is sporting a 1-2 record alongside a 5.55 ERA. Right now, that is what the world of sports is looking like as we transition into a pretty interesting Friday. There is a There are some World Cup qualifying games in the Americas as Brazil faces off against Ecuador. But other than that, there's not really any crazy matchups going on. I want to thank everyone for listening to all 34 minutes of this piece. And once all of today's matchups from Friday, June 4th once they have been completed and once they have finished, I will come back tomorrow on Saturday, June 5th for another installment of The Elite. And up until then, I want to thank everyone for listening to my piece. I hope all is well, and I will catch you with another episode tomorrow regarding today's games. I'm James Sims. This is The Elite. I want to thank everyone for listening to this piece. I hope all is well, and peace out. I'll catch you tomorrow.